Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be working with the Anna Griffin 3D Fancy French Frame Dies number 2. This is the information sheet that comes with the dies, and there are 6 examples that give you inspiration so that you can make the most of your die set. And on the back, there's a picture of the complete die set. I often use these sheets as a reference and a way to catalog my dies. I did get these off of the HSN Craft Day in July. They are currently sold out on the HSN website, but they will be available on the Anna Griffin website, and I will leave a link down below if you would like to pick up your set. So this is what they look like, and I'm doing some animation so that you can see the detailing, and since there are 2 complete sets, I'm going to show you what they look like individually. This one is more of a frame, and you can see that the roses that are going to emboss in the corners are oh so very, very pretty. Excuse the shaking. And this one is more of an oval, kind of like a mirror, like an old antique mirror. These sets can be mixed and matched or used together or separately. Each one of these die sets comes with 8 dies. Now that is going to give you a lot of room to be creative and create some awesome projects. And this is the set that we're going to be making our card with on today. Using the basket cardstock, I'm going to show you how you can cut 4 5x7 layers from one 12x12 sheet of cardstock in the most efficient way possible. I am using the We Are Memory Keepers trim and scoreboard to do this because it has measurements on the cutter as well as on the top, which makes this very convenient. But if you don't have measurements on your slider cutting area, you can use a ruler. So you just start by putting the paper at 5 inches and then cutting down to 7 inches every time you move your paper. You're going to put it at the 5-inch mark. That makes it pretty easy. You are going to keep turning the paper around and cutting until you can cut out all of the pieces. I used to just cut straight down my paper at 5 inches and then cut that piece at 7 inches, but I can see how wasteful that can be. I only do this method on one of the cardstock layers of each color in the bundle because I may need some sheets of cardstock for my slimline dies or for scrapbooking. And since the basket cardstock set is double-sided, you have an option to use either side. That's the blessing and the curse of double-sided papers, right? You do have to choose. And so now we have 2 5x7 layers completed. The next layer, we have to figure out exactly where to cut it. And so I put it where I can know if I cut it at the 5-inch mark that I will just have to cut down 7 inches. And if you are unsure, you can always place one of the other 5x7 layers over the top and check and make sure that where you're going to cut is the right area. And now all we have left is the last piece. When you get to the last cut, you will only have a tiny square of waste paper left at the end. And there you have it, 4 12x12 sheets of paper cut from one 12x12 sheet of cardstock. I just love this technique. These are the supplies we should have so far. Our die set, a piece of matte gold foil, and 2 pieces of patterned cardstock. Now let's get out our cutting mats for die cutting. I'm going to be cutting out the shadow layer out of the matte foil cardstock. I am going to cut out the center to use on another project so I don't waste paper, and this step is optional. I do use the main die as a placeholder to find the center of the die, and then I remove it from the plate system and run the whole thing through the Empress machine. After removing the dies from the plate system, I will then add my pattern paper onto the plate system and cut out the main die and run this through the Empress machine. And here are the pieces that we just cut out. The matte gold foil with the center removed and the main die out of the pattern cardstock. I'm now switching to the mini plates, and the sandwich for this is going to be the clear cutting plate with the metal shim, the magnetic mat, and then our paper in the pattern placed on top. We can now take our inner dies and cut them all together in the Empress. I will only be cutting the thicker dies on the pattern paper, and I will be cutting out the thinner dies on a gold foil matte cardstock. Now, I won't be showing that in this video because that part of the file did get corrupted and I was not able to add it into the video. But we're gonna run this all through the Empress. And I'm using the big Empress to cut this out so that I don't have to cut down my 5x7 cardstock. When removing the dies from the magnetic mat, you're going to want to peel the dies and the paper away from the magnetic mat. And now we're going to emboss these die cuts. I'm sure the magnetic mat did a great job embossing these, but I just wanted to see if I could get a deeper emboss. So what you want to do is place your rubber mat down on the top of your clear cutting plate and then put your paper and the die face down over the top. If the paper comes out of the die, just place it back in and make sure that it locks into place, and then place it down on the rubber mat. I'm going to be securing my die cuts down with some tape because when you run the sandwich through the die cutting machine, it moves and squishes out of the back, and that sometimes causes the dies to shift. Now that we have all of our pieces cut down and on our rubber mat, we're going to put the top plate back on and run this through the Empress machine one more time. Removing the top plate, we'll take a look at what these dies look like after we take the tape off. And they are now embossed a second time. First time with just the magnetic mat and the second time with the rubber mat. These look really, really good. The detail is incredible. And if you wanted to, you could take some ink and go over it. I know a few times you guys have seen me take my metallic embossing wax, gilding wax, and go over the top of the embossing. That gives a really awesome effect. It also gives it like an antique look when it's just like that empire gold. And also you could, just use some over the top of the die just to hit any of the areas that the dot or the open spaces inside of the die. You could also do something like that. So here's all the pieces that we cut out. The purple piece didn't actually make it into the card, so just don't even worry about that. And here is the metallic piece that we cut out, which is the background layer with the main die over the top. And you can see how that just covered over that empty little cutout that we did, and now you can't even see it. And then we're just gonna layer our pieces on top of each other in a really pretty way. And the next thing that I want to talk about is this little gold piece right here. So this is where I said that the video corrupted. And so you get these little outlines that are really great for putting around your die cuts and creating a border. And if you just tape them together on the back, I used foam squares to hold them together, you get this really pretty effect. So that's one of the amazing things about having so many of these die cut layers in this set. you can create these really intricate pieces that nest together in a way that you can't do if you don't have all of these background dies together. This little oval emblem is so cute and makes a great accent. So I cut it out 3 times, once out of purple paper and twice out of the gold paper. And I placed it in a row on the card to just define the center. And with that purple one, I am going to end up covering it up. I didn't know that at the time, but you could just leave it and do something else. Now these flowers came from the window box pop-up card kit, and I thought they went really well with the purple color in this card, and also so did the sentiment. So you can see how I covered up that little piece. This card is so beautiful and would make a great topper on the front of one of those window pop-up die cards. So that's what I'm going to put it on today. So this card front came from the window box pop-up card making kit, and this is our finished card. So it is really flattering and makes a wow statement, and I just think that it came out really nice. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with a crafty friend. All right, well, we'll see you in the next video, and have a great day. Bye.